You be like, all right, I'm gonna give you the mic
Welcome
back,
to
but let me
another
finish
episode
this.
of Unparalleled Sports Talk with Joe's Kwame Fisher Jones. As always, I am him. As always, I am him, and I'm joined by my man Everett Terry Jr. Sports Talk Terry on all social media platforms as we discuss the debacle that was the NBA All Star Game. Yeah, I figured you liked it, so I want to start the show off on a positive note. So I'm going to let you talk about what you liked about the All Star Game, how you felt about it, and then I'm gonna go on my little diatribe because I was not a fan. Not a
First of
fan.
all, first of all, I'm gonna tell you that the All Star Weekend wasn't a success. Nobody wants to see 12th and 13th roster position guys in a dunk contest. Dudes giving themselves concussions, doing layup line dunks. Like,
Was it top secret what time the 3-point competition started? No,
let me
anybody even
finish.
knew what time it
Let
started.
me finish where I'm going. Listen, the dunk contest was terrible. Nobody wanted to see Dame Lillard, who's good enough to do a 3-point contest, but not good enough to help Portland win games, out there jacking threes to win another one. Now, there's rumors next year it's going to be the old man's thing. They're going to have him and Clay and Steph out there. Okay, people will tune in for that. My remedy to the dunk contest specifically is that they need to open it up to all dunkers, not just NBA guys. If you're going to have 13 guys on the roster and guys in the G League, you might as well let all these YouTube dunkers with these creative dunks come in there and compete for NBA 10-day contracts. It would be incentivizing. They'd be playing for something. And you'd be surprised at how creative those dudes that you see on YouTube doing all types of crazy dunks would be in front of millions of people with an opportunity to get their own notoriety and a chance to get out there. That would save the dunk contest. The 3-point contest, if you get the shooters back in there, maybe add a guy like a Conca Nipple, it could be something worth watching. All of that said, the actual All Star game itself was a huge success. I call it a home run. They had 8 million people watching the game, which is the most it's had in over a decade since Kobe and Bron were out there running around. Why? Because they were playing for something. They were playing energy. They were playing with pride. I like how they broke it down. The NBA needed to do something because people stopped tuning in to watch, 171 to 169 games with no defense where everybody's kind of running around doing, all types of tricks. But this game had focus. Team World wanted to beat Team USA. I like that they broke Team USA down. Unfortunately, the older guys who dominated the earlier rounds, listen, they're old. They got tired. Like, how many games do you expect them old dudes to run and keep running and have the same energy? They got to listen. Kawhi Leonard is pushing 57 years old. LeBron out there pushing 90. Them guys can't be running 3 straight games. Pick up. Listen, I'm 43. When I go to LA Fitness, I got one good run in me, maybe two. By the third game, y'all go down there, y'all play on that side. I'll be down here waiting for the ball. That's all I got. So I understand these guys are pro athletes doing it at a higher level while they run out of gas. And for what it's worth, it still was a success. It was a great game, good outcome. Wemby with the chance to be a hero falls short after missing the shot in the game before. So it gave you everything that you wanted. The NBA could have asked for a better All-Star game, but they need to fix the weekend. That's my take.
All right, couple of things. But first, let me start with the elephant in the room. You're an old 43. I'm a young 47. I can
Good
go all
night.
day. I can go all day. Here's the difference.
All they doing what?
Whatever I need to do, I go all day. But here's the thing. Here's the thing.
Awesome.
And hold on, let me finish. Let me finish. At 47, and you'll get there when you get past 45. When you hit 47, you become the oldest living black man in most rooms. And that gives you carte blanche to say, I don't want to. So yeah, I can go all day. So Kawhi, LeBron aren't at that age. They aren't at that age statistically, but physically they're at that 47, 50. And they were like, yo, I could probably go another game, but I don't want to. I just don't want to. So once you become the oldest living black man in most rooms, you can rest your laurels on I don't want to. Now, my issue with your idea, and I think it's a great idea, the slam dunk competition, and I think that it's been broached many different ways by many different people. And I think it's a great idea, and I want to give you credit for that. The only thing I believe the NBA has a problem with allowing people essentially off the street to get into the dunk competition is that it's supposed to be the NBA slam dunk competition. And if you're not in the NBA, you shouldn't be able to participate. I understand it. I don't agree with it because right now you're hemorrhaging money right now because there's an opportunity to really take advantage of that, especially with social media and Twitch and live streaming and all those things. You can explode with that. I saw some of the dunks Matt McCullough was gonna do. Wow. And it's not even like he's the best of the best. He's just the best because he twiddles around in the G League. And by the way, he was an NBA player at one point. I don't know if he is now. But when I saw him in the G League lighting up Moses Moody, he was an NBA player. Now, but I think the NBA has to embrace that. And rather than have it be a quote NBA slam dunk competition, just a slam dunk competition. And you're inviting the world in so many other aspects. Just have it be a slam dunk competition, sponsored by Amazon, sponsored by Twitch. And it doesn't even have to be part of the quote NBA. The NBA has a horse competition. A lot of people don't know. Kevin Durant kills that. Like he's like the reigning 5-time champion. I don't know if he did it last year, but when he played, he was like 4 times over. It's a lot of things that go on that people don't know about. Allow one of your sponsors, whether it be Amazon, whether it be one of those other television brands or streaming brands, to sponsor a slam dunk competition. And just let the NBA, the slam dunk competition, the NBA slam dunk is done. It's not going to work anymore. You said it's a 16, 13. It's not even that. It's the fact that there's no pizzazz to it. And
because the stars don't want to do it.
Even if LeBron did it, I don't think it would be. What made Vince Carter slam dunks so exciting, it wasn't because it was Vince Carter. It's because his dunks were exciting. You know, when Sean Kemp did it, when Sean Kemp was lighting the slam dunk, he wasn't the all-star that he was. He was just, his dunks were exciting. I don't believe NBA. Aaron Gordon wasn't a household name. Zach LaVine wasn't a household name. Their dunks were exciting. You bring that back to the go. Now, I didn't like the game. I don't like the format. And I guess I'm just an old curmudgeon. Dude, just play basketball. Stop trying to do all these tricks and all these. It's like, and I'm going to go X-rated with this analogy. But it's like the girl you're dating or the girl you're messing with. I mean, I'm married, so, you know. But it's like when your wife comes in and she's got all, or your girl's got all these things, all these bells and whistles she wants to do. And it's like, dude, I just want to have sex. Like, I just want to watch the basketball game. I don't want to watch the stars, stripes, the bangles and the boongles and all that. And if you win the first quarter, then you get the second quarter, but you can lose the third quarter. I don't want to see all that crap. Throw the damn ball up. We would have had a hell of an all-star game. Ant Edwards, Wemby, Joker on one team, and Joker, and take Joker out of the equation. But Ant and Wemby on one team, taking on Maxey, Barnes. Them brothers were playing. They were competing. That's all you want is a competition.
So you didn't watch the All-Star game the year before when those same names were in there and they were doing the 129 to 127. Everybody's just playing. Nobody's playing defense. There was no incentive for them to play. This was different. They got guys to play defense on both sides of the ball. Everybody was trying, which has been the issue with the All-Star game the last 10, 15 years.
What was the score of the final game? I forgot.
I can't recall, but it wasn't high. It wasn't like 190 to 187.
It was a blowout. Look at him. It was a blowout. The final game was a blowout.
Yeah, because they were tired. But the point I'm making to you is the format to get it there got people interested in seeing because it was different. I get it. Your old man get off my lawn, yells at cloud. I get it. You want old school, Celtics versus Lakers 1987 All-Star Game magic. That's not going to happen in today's NBA. You take what they give you. And what they're giving you now is something that younger people who are going to watch long after you got glaucoma and can't watch the game no more. They're going to tune in to watch this because this is a little more exciting than that traditional basketball. They have no interest in watching because guys don't try. The problem with the All-Star game, the Pro Bowl, the World Series, the guys don't try.
No. We're not going to lump all those things together. We're talking specifically about the NBA All-Star game.
But the issue is the same. People don't watch because they don't try.
People like to say, get off my lawn, you old man, get off my lawn. You know why I want you off my damn lawn? Because my lawn is beautiful. And my lawn looks nice. That's why I want you off my lawn.
Your lawn is losing money. Your lawn is losing money in viewers and sponsorships because nobody wants to watch the game.
I disagree with that. I think that there's a negative cloud
around the game. The ratings speak for themselves.
I think there's a negative cloud around the game because it involves. I don't want to go heavy on it. I'm just going to say that I believe there's a negativity around the game because of the participants. And have there been instances where there have been blowouts? I got a news flash for you guys. There were blowouts in the 70s. There were blowouts in the 80s. There were blowouts in the 90s in the All-Star game. The difference was there wasn't this outrage at the money the players make. There wasn't this outrage at the type of players that were playing in the NBA. Now, I understand what you're saying. People aren't watching, but people consume media, consume games in a different fashion now. The Super Bowl halftime show. There was an alternative broadcast for another form of for another type of music
America first. Yeah.
to go against Bad Bunny, and there was no way to quantify how many people watched the alternative broadcast with Kid Rock in it.
They said about 5 million.
They estimate, but they don't know. The reason why I bring that example up is because the way people consume media now is all over the place. So when people say the ratings are down, that's a crutch.
But it's all trackable.
They're using that crutch to justify a bigger point that they don't believe the game is watchable. I believe if you had Wemby and Ant Edwards going up against a Maxey and a Barnes, and I'm forgetting some other players on the East that just Jaylen Brown, just because I'm drawing a blank, but you had a different competitive fire to the game. Now, with that said, I want to also point this out. At some point, there is going to be a changing of the guard. And when that happens, you're going to have a lull. You're going to have the Kenny Andersons and Reggie Miller All-Star games, the Dana Barrows All-Star games. Where you're going to have guys that aren't really that good, but are there because their team is good, and at that point you're going to have a drop off in viewership. And then all these formats, all these bells and whistles, all these things they're doing, they're going to get exposed. Kawhi Leonard had a great 7-minute stretch. Help me out. 7-minute stretch, 8-minute stretch.
He was on God mode for about 7-8 minutes. Yeah, that he was gonna win the All-Star game if they had won. He would have won the All-Star game MVP because he was unclippable. He was hitting everything.
And then at the last game, you can look the score up, if you want to. Last game,
they ran out of gas.
They always run, and that's the problem when you play every game like it's your last. You run out of gas. When the game is 5-minute quarters, you run out of gas. So
it's the first time they tried the format, though.
I didn't like it. I don't. And the bigger thing for me, I know we like to say, I'm an old man, I'm curmudgeon. I just feel like this spends way too many times placating to the smaller crowd, to the squeaky wheel. That's the issue. To me, it's the squeaky wheel. I believe that the players that were playing in the All-Star game weren't competitive at that point. I think we have a different group of players now. These are the same dudes that were taking, what was it, maintenance? What do they call it? Maintenance breaks? What were they taking during the season? It was a big thing they were taking 2-3 years ago. It wasn't rest. What do they call it? Where the players wouldn't play more than 4 games in 5
load
nights.
Load management.
That's what was going on. We don't have load management guys anymore. We got guys that want to play every game.
Nah, yeah, we do.
I like
organizations are doing this to tank.
I like the future of the NBA. I like the guys that were in the game, and I would have really loved to have seen a West and East, or even a world versus US format. Now, I want to transition to another topic. Second half of the season technically has started, even though we're well past 42 games, 41 games. But this is the second half of the season. Can you do me a favor when you get a chance, look up the NBA trade deadline? And while you're doing that, I'm going to give my predictions. Now, we have a couple different predictions we're going to go into, but what I want to focus on is 2 major ones. MVP and Western and Eastern Conference. Who's going to go to the NBA Finals? Now, I think I'm going to shock you with my MVP pick. In fact, I know I'm going to shock you with my MVP pick, but I believe he's going to have a strong second half. Well, maybe I won't shock you. It was a guy I picked last year and he got hurt. I think Wemby's going to win the MVP. I think he's going to clear the board. I think he's going to be Defensive Player of the Year. I think he's going to be MVP this year. But, and here's where you're going to get mad. I don't believe the Oklahoma City Thunder are going to the NBA Finals. I don't think the Oklahoma City are going to. I don't know who is in the Western Conference, but I don't believe the Oklahoma City Thunder are going to the NBA Finals. However, I do believe the Boston Celtics will be representing the Eastern Conference in the NBA Finals. When we did our trade breakdown, we didn't talk about Vucevic going to the Celtics at all. We didn't talk about the fact that we discussed Tatum not coming back, maybe coming back.
I said he was. You said he wasn't. And now he is.
So I was just about to say, chances are we won't know for certain until after the trade deadline.
It's already confirmed. He'll be back. They're talking his first or second home game in Boston after the break.
I was about to say, reports were that his camp didn't want him to come back, and so he was going to shut it down. Now, after they had Vukovic, you're looking at an Eastern Conference that can be had.
That's winnable. Yeah.
Not,
Which
not,
is what I told you. I
so
told you, I said Jaylen Brown's been holding the load, and that if they make a good move at the deadline, Tatum was going to come back to play if they could win the East. I said that. You looked at me like I had 3 years. No, Tatum's camp wants to shut it down. I said, why would they shut it down in a
they
conference
want
that's
no. The
winnable?
reports were
This
that
is
they
the
were going to
easiest
shut it
it
down. It
is.
was the reports were they were going to shut it down. Even if, which was the point I was trying to make before I was so rudely interrupted.
Sorry.
Even if Tatum doesn't come back, I loved the Celtics coming out of the Eastern Conference because of something you said 2 years ago, and I fought you with every fiber of my being. Joe Mazzulla is a good coach. You were
Oh!
right, and I was wrong.
Oh!
You were right. You were right, and I was wrong. And the reason why it's not an X's and O's thing. He has in Boston what they don't have in LA, a
Finger on the
connection.
pulse.
Say it again. Say it again. Say it again.
Finger on the pulse. He's got a finger on the pulse of the team.
He
God played hard for
knows
him.
how to put guys in position where not only they'll be successful, but he can tell them how to be successful. I'm going to repeat that. He knows how to put guys in position where they not only can be successful, but he can tell them how to be successful. JJ Redick is lost in Los Angeles. And
I
whether
agree.
anybody wants to admit it or not, I don't give a hill of beans if you do it or not. I am standing here on the same pulpit I stood on and said the New England Patriots in November we're going to the Super Bowl because you can see it. I'm telling you, JJ Redick is lost in Los Angeles. And what they got going on in Boston with Jaylen Brown, I would actually pick Jaylen Brown to be the MVP, but I don't think he's going to get enough opportunities to take games over. But I believe he's probably one of the top, I would say he's top 5 in the Eastern Conference. And I'm going to make an argument that he can probably be one of the top 10 or top 10 two-way players in the NBA right now. And guys that give you offense and give you defense. Yeah, I'm going to stand on that. So those are my predictions. Let me recap. I got Wemby winning the MVP in a landslide. I don't even think it's going to be close. I don't believe OKC's coming out of the Western Conference. And the problem with that is I can't give you the team that is, but I just don't see it. And I love the Celtics coming out of the East. I love them coming out of the East. Floor is yours.
All right. So you stole a lot of my thunder, but that's okay. It doesn't change my answers. So first things first. I don't know about Wemby winning MVP simply because of the fact with his injury history, the fact that he's missed some games, and the fact that they're playing him 25 minutes a game. He just doesn't scream MVP when you're not playing enough of the games down when it matters for them to win. The Spurs have a good team and can win games without him. But the difference is he is an impact maker and a difference maker on both ends of the floor. But we haven't seen that dominant rookie year sensation Wemby most of this season because they're trying to monitor his minutes so he's healthy when they need him for the playoffs. That's one. Do I think he could win MVP? Yes, but he needs to get up around 33, 34 minutes a game. Playing 25 minutes is not going to win you an MVP. That's one. Number two, do I think that the OKC Thunder are going to come out of the West? Before SGA got injured, I stood on it and said they have the best shot to come out the West because they're battle tested and defending world champions. And until somebody shows that they can beat them, they're not going to do it. But I did also have a caveat that the only team that's beat them consistently this year has been those same San Antonio Spurs. And so styles make fights. If the Spurs and the Thunder have to see each other, I do not like the OKC Thunder coming out of the West. However, if SGA is back and healthy and they do not have to see the Spurs and say the Spurs get knocked off by Minnesota or somebody else along the way, Denver, somebody else along the way they lose to, then I think OKC, because they're a young team that gets out, they run, they get up and down the floor, I think that they can go ahead and they can beat anybody else in the West but San Antonio. However, let me preface by saying that if for some reason Oklahoma City loses in the playoffs this year, do not be surprised if they pull an off-season trade, and you're hearing it here first, for one Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Oh, stay on topic. Stay on topic.
Let me finish. They got the pieces, they've got the capital, and they've got the space to go and get what they have to give to make the deal alluring enough for Milwaukee to trade him and still get good return. That aside, I don't think that Wemby wins MVP for the reasons I mentioned. I got a dark horse, and I'm going to call it now. Cade Cunningham. He is the best superstar most people have never heard of. Why? Because he plays in Detroit. But Detroit has the best record in the Eastern Conference. He is the engine and the motor to that team. He's the identity to that team. It's Cade Cunningham and a bunch of good players. There's not a second household name on that roster that the average casual would know. But people who follow basketball know that Cade is that dude. He's been that work, and he just needed a full healthy season with some complementary pieces. And I compare him to this era's Tim Duncan. He's not flashy. He's not going to come out and give you 50 and dunk on three people like a Ja Morant would, but he's going to come out and give you solid, consistent basketball and effort on both ends of the floor, and his team is going to win. And for that, I think he is the dark horse to win the MVP, especially if Detroit runs away with the best record in the Eastern Conference and potentially the best record in the league now that OKC's starting to drop some games. So that's my pick. In terms of other second half moves, do I love Boston? I love Boston. I think they're the only team that can beat Detroit, primarily because of what we mentioned earlier, Tatum coming back. I called it a couple of weeks ago. I told you Tatum was coming back. You said, oh, no, it's Cam shutting it down. I said, listen, my man, I'm telling you, there's no way Jason Tatum, as a competitor as he is, with a chance to be a two-time NBA champion, would sit out. I was so. Go back and pull the tapes. Listen, we can fact check it anytime you want to. Listen,
five much on it. You were not that.
Listen. I'm telling you that Jason Tatum is coming back to play basketball because the East is winnable. The only team that scares them is the Detroit Pistons. They're not afraid of the Sixers. They're not afraid of the Cavaliers, especially with Harden. They're not afraid of any of those other teams. The only team that scares them is Detroit because Detroit is a well-rounded team that matches up well with their wing and perimeter defenders. But you get a Tatum back, and now you don't have to just stop Brown. You got to stop Tatum, and they add Vucevic and Peyton Pritchard. You want to talk about finger on the pulse. I heard Reggie Miller just compared Caitlin Clark to Peyton Pritchard, and she almost died. What you don't understand is Peyton Pritchard has become a unique player who fits the system. He does all the things that Christian Braun did for the Nuggets 2 years ago. He comes in, he's a glue guy, 3-and-D. He can light it up when he gets the opportunities, but he doesn't demand the ball. He just stays in his role. That's Joe Mazzulla. And that's the guy that I talked about being one of those top head coaches in the basketball. Joe Mazzulla knows how to put a finger on the pulse and get the most out of guys. Jordan Walsh, another guy nobody heard of, coming and giving you quality minutes. Quita, Neemias Quita, good backup center who's been playing well. He was a starter for a while. Now with Vucevic, they add some depth with having him on there in the bench. Like, they've got a bunch of guys that most people wouldn't be able to pick out of a lineup, but they're coming in there giving them quality minutes and making them better. They traded Anthony Simons, who they went and got last year because they expected Tatum to be out. And they haven't lost a beat since getting rid of him because Anthony Simons didn't fit what they needed. They said, we got guys who can do what Anthony Simons does. Let us get some value. And they used it and got back Vucevic, who added more value to them because he gave him a big versus Simons, who's another wing. And it's like, we don't really need another wing. So all those things together, I like Boston. I think Boston versus Detroit is going to be the Eastern Conference Finals matchup. I think if Tatum plays and he's healthy, I think Boston can beat them. But if Detroit runs away with the East, like I kind of expected they will, because it's going to take Tatum some ramp-up time, Cade Cunningham wins MVP of the league. That's my take.
Okay, first, I want to go back to you taking an unnecessary dig at James Harden for absolutely no reason. That's the first thing. It was so unnecessary and so pointless. I mean, I get it. James Harden is not out here like stopping global hunger, dude. He's going to play well in the regular season. He's going to have one good playoff game, and that's it. I got no problems with that. I got no issues with that. I don't. I feel like people expect too much from the brother. Now,
he didn't make the Cavaliers better.
He what?
He did not make the Cavaliers better. At best, they made a lateral move and got older. That's all. They didn't get better.
I want to go back to who was the last Detroit Piston to win an NBA MVP award?
Say it again.
Who was the last Detroit Piston to win an NBA MVP award? It's never happened. Let me stop you. It's never.
I was going to say Bill Wallace won DPOY.
No, it's never happened. There's never been.
Bill Wallace won DPOY.
Yeah, no, I'm saying the NBA MVP.
MVP, no, not that I know. No.
Now they've had Finals MVPs, obviously. They've had All-Star Game MVPs, but they've never had an NBA MVP. There's a reason for that. We fight about this all the time. I have a high affinity for Isaiah Thomas. You know that. I think anyone that knows me even a little bit knows I consider him one of the greatest players, like top 10, not even top 10, top 8 greatest players of all time. He didn't even win a Finals MVP because he sacrificed his game for the betterment of the team. He, much like Cade Cunningham, did not have guys around him that were all-stars yet. Now, yeah, they made all-star games, but outside of Dennis Rodman being a great defensive player years later, with the Pistons, he was a good player. Joe Dumars, little tank did a lot with his career, but chill. Cade Cunningham is in that mold right now. I don't believe he wins an MVP because I don't think, and I pulled his numbers up because I was curious, because I love Cade Cunningham. I tried to swindle him for Ben Simmons a few years ago. I don't think 25, 5, and 9 are MVP numbers. I don't think they're MVP numbers in the Midwest. In the Midwest, playing for the Pistons. Now, if you're playing maybe Boston or LA or Philadelphia, or even maybe a southern state, maybe. But when you're talking about those flyover states and your name's not Michael Jeffrey Jordan and you're not putting up 40 a game, it's very difficult. Because if we want to be realistic with it last year, Donovan Mitchell should have been in the MVP consideration for the season the Cavs had. But because he played in a flyover state, you have to do extras, kind of like that old adage. You have to do 10 times more to be considered just as good. So I like what you're saying.
LeBron Ramon James played for Cleveland and won MVPs. What are we talking about?
Yeah. Say that name again.
LeBron Ramon James played for the Cleveland Cavaliers and won MVPs.
Are you telling me, hold on, are you telling me that Michael Jeffrey Jordan, LeBron James, and Cade Cunningham are in the same breath?
No, but what I'm saying to you is you can play in the Midwest and win an MVP. That's all I'm saying. You're saying he can't win because he plays in the Midwest.
I said Michael Jordan. If you're LeBron James or Michael Jordan, yes, you can win an MVP in the Midwest. Not if you're Cade Cunningham.
Okay.
Not if you're Isaiah Thomas.
You have the best record in the East by a lot, and you putting up 25 and 10, you will win MVP.
I'm dumbfounded that there's pushback from you on that statement. Like you really okay. You really are trying to tell me that Cade Cunningham is in the same, not the same breath. I know you're not saying they're the same player, but the same talent, the same impact as Jordan and LeBron. And those are the only guys that have done it. I would say Cade Cunningham's a little better than Reggie Miller.
Oh, he's definitely better than Reggie Miller. He impacts the game more.
He didn't even get consideration for MVP.
He shouldn't have. He shouldn't have. What I'm telling you is Cade Cunningham is the best player on the best team in the Eastern Conference.
And so was Donovan Mitchell last year.
Yeah, but the problem with Donovan Mitchell.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Well, Tatum had an argument, but Donovan. The problem with Donovan Mitchell is this: Donovan Mitchell he's the James Harden. He's the James Harden of the East. Well, now they're on the same team. He's the guy that puts up nice. He puts up nice games. He gets his stats. He puts up numbers, and they win games. But they can win games without him.
Much time left? I get all
Cade
of that.
Cunningham, they can't win if Cade Cunningham misses. If Cade Cunningham misses games, they don't win. The Cavaliers won games without Donovan Mitchell.
Those are
they
all
won games
facts.
Without Donovan Mitchell.
Those are all great facts and great points. But the point I'm making is this: I'm not refuting that. What I'm saying is he doesn't have enough cachet to overcome being in a flyover state. You said in your point earlier that people that know basketball know how good Cade Cunningham is. The problem with that is the bozos that vote for the MVP award, all of them don't know basketball. And I think you would agree with me on that. No one is saying Cade Cunningham isn't an MVP caliber talent. What I'm saying is to win the MVP, he has to overcome so much. I'll give you another example. Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook are MVP winners in Oklahoma City, right?
There's other Midwest teams where guys won.
But I also said in the South. I said in the South. I did say Texas, maybe in the South. But how many MVP awards, realistically, should Kevin Durant have won when he was in Oklahoma City? Keep in mind, you had them go to the Western Conference Finals, they lost to Kobe. Then they go to the NBA Finals, they lose to LeBron. Then they go to the Western Conference Finals, and they lose to Dirk. So that team was one of the top.
And they lost to Steph.
Yeah, they were one of the top 3 teams in the NBA for 4 consecutive years. He got 1 MVP win. He got 1. That was it. And it took hell and earth to move that because the world had to hate LeBron James. Again, we're beating a dead horse.
But look at the era he's playing, though. You don't have that era.
I agree with you that Cade Cunningham is an MVP talent. I am not disputing that. You're 100% right. I am not disputing that anyway. My only point is I don't think he overcomes being a Detroit Piston who history has shown you has never won an NBA MVP and being over flyover state. Those are the things that are going to hurt him. I think if I'm voting, I am voting for Cade Cunningham because I agree with you. I just don't think he's going to win it for those reasons. I believe Wemby wins it because he wins Defensive Player of the Year. I believe he wins it because he's putting up 25, 11, 3, and I want to say 5 assists. Fact check me on that. I want to say he's up there on 5 assists. And the Spurs are going to be a top 3 team in the NBA. That's why I believe Wemby's going to win. That's it. Now, I am not refuting your statement that Cade Cunningham is. I want to emphasize that to you. You're right. He is an MVP caliber talent. I just don't think he overcomes those things. Now, we got to transition because we got 5 minutes left, and I want to get
He's averaging 24, 11, 3, and 2 blocks.
All right. So, yeah, those are pretty damn good numbers.
Right. I mean, Cade Cunningham's averaging 25, 9, and 5. Like, I mean, you act like they're so far apart. They're not. And Cade Cunningham, in terms of his minutes per game, is playing more minutes per game than Wemby.
Yeah, he's probably played about 7 more games than Wemby if we're using that.
That too.
But again, Wemby is an international star. Cade Cunningham is Q from Juice. He's local. That's the only problem. It's the only problem. He's a hell of a player, and I'd vote for him, but he's local. Chris Paul. We got 5 minutes left in the segment. Great. I can sum up Chris Paul's legacy in one word, but I want to give you the floor first. Chris Paul retired quietly. I believe he'll probably come back next year, but I think this year is a wrap for him. How would you sum up Chris Paul's legacy? We got 4 minutes left.
Overlooked. And I say that because...
Oh, interesting.
Because what people don't realize is Chris Paul played for almost 20 seasons. And outside of LeBron James was one of the longest tenured players in the NBA, maybe even in NBA history. And he was point guard. In his prime in New Orleans and with the Clippers, he was a man walking among boys. The things he could do with the ball, he was a magician. He set the offense, he set the tempo, he was a floor general, and his mid-range was clutch. The problem is he never won when it mattered. Falling short in the playoffs year after year, hurt every year, injuries every year, falling up short, not playing big enough. And it wasn't because of effort or talent. You know, his heart wanted him out there, but his body failed him. And as a result, guys like Steph Curry, who came in and won multiple championships and multiple MVPs, surpassed him, even despite not being true traditional first point guards who were more floor generals, as Draymond runs the offense on Golden State. So it's unfortunate because Chris Paul should have gotten more recognition and definitely got a much better send-off from the league than he got versus just getting traded and released and quietly going into the darkness without anything in the shadow realm. But, you know, he's not getting that walkaway tour like LeBron will when he hangs it up, and it's unfortunate because he's worth that. I mean, the man averaged a career 17 and 9, but in his prime was averaging he was a walking double-double every night with 2 steals, you know, capable of locking up his man and putting hell on defense. And none of that gets remembered because we only remember the Chris Paul who couldn't get along with certain guys, the Chris Paul whose trade got denied by the league to go play with Kobe, which I'm for sure they would have won a title with those 2 guys in the same gym every day. But, you know, I don't know why David Stern blocked that trade. You know, listen, we got to ask him when we get to heaven or hell, wherever he's at, you know, but for what it's worth, you know, he never had a chance to play with, you know, a talent like Kobe Bean Bryant and have a chance to win. And it sucks because now his career is over and he never had a chance to even play in a finals. So sucks for him.
Never heard the phrase much to do about nothing. That's Chris Paul. That's Chris Paul's legacy. Much to do about nothing. Wow. Was he better than, I mean, we're obviously not going to say he's better than Isaiah. We're obviously not going to say he's better than Steph. We're obviously not going to say he's better than Magic. We're obviously not going to say he's better than Pistons.
Better than Steve Nash. I take him over Steve Nash in their proms.
I would take Nash, but no, I wouldn't. That's a lie. I'd take Paul because I always take the black dude. But
I take him because he plays defense, and Nash didn't.
I know, but I'm not gonna lie to you. I think Nash was the better offensive player, and Nash's limitations.
But he played matador defense. Everybody could score on him. You weren't scoring all over Chris Paul.
Their limitations on defense is what puts Chris Paul in the conversation. But when I look at Chris Paul, he was a guy who played a high level of basketball. probably one of the smart. I often say this about Draymond. I also say this about
Yeah.
Steph Curry. If they were in
Basketball
any,
too high.
yeah, I was just about to say, not just basketball, life IQ. Like if they were in any other entity, they would be CEOs of the company. And that's Chris Paul. I believe he is the Steve Jobs of the current NBA point guards. Yes, he rubbed some people the wrong way, but he got the job done. Where I think it's much to do about nothing, I don't believe he was the impactful player that people elevate him to. He didn't make an NBA Finals because he wasn't good enough. Whether he got hurt or whether he played, he didn't make because he wasn't good enough. And that's what it all comes down to. Injuries are a part of the game. We all get hurt, B. You tough, right? We all get hurt. It all happens. It's just certain players always fall short for whatever the reason, and that was Chris Paul. And when it's done, 10 years from now, Chris Paul won't even be mentioned in the top 10 point guards of all time. He won't, because his career summed up was much to do about nothing. Really good in his era. I would even say, real quick, and I'm going to have to shut it down on this, Paul Pierce of the point guards. That's it for this episode of Unparalleled Sports Talk. If you like this episode, make sure you share, comment, subscribe, whatever your platform allows you to do. He's Everett Terry Jr. I'm Kwame Fisher-Jones. Until next week, we appreciate your time here. You be easy.